Hey everybody, I know that we have some questions with the Khan Academy, so I'm going to try to clear up some questions here. So we're going to really be focusing on the phase shift part of that, so that's the horizontal shift. That's where that minus h comes into play. So the minus h is actually to the right, but then a plus h is to the left. I know that's kind of backwards, but that's kind of how it is. The amplitude, period, vertical shift, that's all going to be the same whether you're dealing with sine or cosine. All right, I've got some Khan Academy pulled up here, so hopefully me doing a couple of these will kind of help you out. First thing, I know my amplitude is a half, my k is -2. Now, notice here that my b value is inside the parentheses, and Khan Academy likes to have it that way, but the way that I showed you here, see how b is on the outside? So we actually have to factor out a b, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. It's not too bad. So we're going to factor out a pi over 3 here. So we're going to take out a pi over 3. And when I take out, so if we have 0.5 sine, and I take out a pi over 3, I'm left with just an x, okay? And then when I take out a 1 pi over 3, we're left with a 4 there. Okay, and there's a -2 at the end. So, so my h is actually 4 to the left. Okay, so we're going to have to move this guy over to the left 4 after we factored out that pi over 3. Now to find the b, remember b helps you determine your period. So how long does it take to complete one cycle? Okay, so how long is that? So remember that how to find that? We did 2 pi over b. Well, our b in this case is pi over 3, so 2 pi over 3, keep change flip, or keep change reciprocal, so 2 pi times 3 over pi. The pi's cancel out, and we're left with a 6. So 6, so it's going to take us 6 units to complete one full cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this here. So remember, I had to move over to the left 4. Okay? And, oh, I got to move down 2 also because that -2. And the amplitude is a half, so it's going to be really, really small. And now I want to make sure we complete that cycle by 6. So -4 plus 6 will bring me to 2. So I have to make sure that from, I'm going to erase some of this stuff so we can see that from this point right here, and we go up and back down and back to the middle, we've got to make sure we end at 2. So this is kind of like a playing around here to make sure that we're back at 2. Not quite, so we want to go up, down, so I got to move this over a little bit more. Not quite yet. Yeah, that gets us there. We go up, we go back down, and we're back at 2. Great. I think this is where a lot of you are having the most difficult time, okay, when you're having to write the formula or write the equation, okay? So one thing, figure out where is that midline. Where is that midline? So I know the top is at 11, the bottom is at 1. They tell you here, your max is at 211, your min is at 3.51, okay? And we're using cosine, so that's great. They tell us cosine. So let's go ahead, figure out where that what that amplitude is, what the midline is. So my midline between 11 and 1, that's 10 spaces. Well, halfway between 10 is 5. So I know 5 is going to be that that midline here. I'm sorry, not, but 5 from 1, I should say. 5, it's actually going to be 6. 5 is not the midline, but 6 is, because we shifted up. Okay, my amplitude is 5. So let's see here. So if we starting up at the top and we go down, we're also shifted over. If we notice here, we're shifted over 2. So my H is 2. I'm going to stick that somewhere else. My H is 2. Now I got to figure out the period. So remember, the period was like, how far does it get from the top to go to the bottom and then back to the top? Well, I know that it takes from 2 to 3.5. So that's 1.5 to go half that way, right? So if I just multiply it by 2, right, then we'll complete one full cycle, so 3. So 3 is my period. Remember to get, we're trying to figure out what B is. So 2 pi over B will equal 3. That's the period. Okay, so now we just do a little bit of cross multiplying, and we'll get our B, we'll get that value. So if I cross multiply here, we'll have 2 pi equals 3b, divide by 3, divide by 3. My B is 2 pi over 3. Okay, 2 pi over 3. Wonderful. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and write the equation. So my equation will start off with 5 cosine. I have 2 pi over 3. Now, be careful when we're doing this. So notice that the B is inside the parentheses. So we're going to actually have to distribute. So if I have 2 pi over 3 with an x and minus 2 plus 6, we actually have to distribute that. Khan Academy likes it that way. I don't know why. So 5 cosine, and we'll have a 2 pi over 3x minus, well, just 2 pi times 2 is 4 pi over 3 plus 6. Okay, so that'll be my answer. So let's go ahead and type that in. 5 cosine, we had 2 pi over 3 x minus, let me just double check, 4 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3 plus 6. Let's check. We're good to go. Wonderful. All right, the next one here, I'll do this last one and then you should be able to get the rest. We have a sine b x plus c plus d. So it's really very similar to the last one, except that they automatically kind of already give you the midline there. So my amplitude is 3. My k value, that midline, is 6. We're shifted, so H, we're shifted to the left, negative 3.5. Now I got to find the B value. Actually, we are not shifted to the left, 3.5, because that would make it at a cosine. Sorry. And I had to double check. It's -1. Sorry. Okay, so that's where we want to be. The B value, okay? Now remember, the period tells you, okay, how far does it take you go up, down, and back to where you started from, okay? Back to where you started from. So if that's the case, then notice here I have, this is a fourth of the way, okay? So here's a fourth, back up to the top is a fourth, here's a fourth, so there's a fourth. So if I just kind of see what's that horizontal distance from negative 3.5 to negative 1, which is 2.5, and I just multiply that by 4, I get 10. That's going to be the period. Okay, so that's not your B value. Remember, 2 pi over B equals 10. So I just cross multiply here. So 2 pi equals 10b. So divide by 10, divide by 10. So 2 pi over 10 is pi over 5. So my B value is pi over 5. Okay. Now I have all that information to write the equation. So I have 3 sine pi over 5 x minus 1 plus 6. Now remember, in the Khan Academy, they want that B on the inside, so you have to distribute that. Okay, so it'll be sine of pi over 5x minus pi over 5 on the inside when you distribute that. Okay, so let me double check, make sure that I have everything before I go ahead and get started in typing this in. So I've got 3 sine pi over 5 x minus pi over 5. I'm just double checking, making sure I've copying it down, plus 6. You know what? I'm realizing that we moved to the left, so that is a plus. Plus 6. Let's check. Good. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this helps to help you get that, to finish up that Khan Academy. Again, let us know if you have any questions. I'll probably check sometime around Wednesday afternoon with the grades. So have a great day.